learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So today is a pretty exciting day. I ordered some solar panels last week and they're out for delivery right now. Now my fear is this is a brand new address. Never been used before. I've made several videos on this, but this property didn't have an address since 1975. There was a trailer here and they left. Well, since then, the addressing has changed. Before it used to be rural routes, now it's street addresses. You know, so I got my mailbox sitting up by the road. I got numbers on both sides of it. I don't know, I just can't trust that I'm actually gonna get my new solar panel. So I'm sitting up here waiting for UPS. You know, the camper's down here. So I'm up here and I thought, well, you know, I'll try to do some chores while I'm at it and talk to you and see what we can get done today. So I have to change the generator oil frequently. I'm trying to get away from having to run it at all and just use it as backup. We've been using it quite a bit for the air conditioner. I've just given up on the idea right now that the solar panels can actually power the air conditioner. It did a really good job when it was a bit cooler, not because of temperature. It's not because how much it runs. It's because solar panels just become less efficient on hotter temperatures. And I've said this lots before, and you can Google it, but for every degree over 78 degrees, you lose 1% efficiency. I like this generator. We've had 3 champions. One got burned up. The second one I messed up and I left gasoline in it. Long story, but I didn't have the ability to actually get a new carburetor because we were nomads at the time. So I bought this one. It's a Champion 2000 watt inverter generator. So today I'm going to change the oil in the generator and wait for my solar panels and talk to you about things that are going on. In order to get into the engine of this thing, you got to open it up the side. It's just a suitcase generator is what it is. And the suitcase keeps the sound from being real loud. It's like 53 decibels, which is like the volume in which we're talking to now. But the disadvantage to the suitcase is it holds in heat. So when it's really hot, it has problems with the fuel because fuel will evaporate in the fuel filter and cause vapor lock. I take the cover off quite a bit when it's really hot. I've been asked a variety of comments or questions, whatever you want to call them, about what's going on in the world. And I thought I would just talk to you about how the world is really kind of drawing up the lines right now. We're, you know, the battlefield lines, I guess. And I don't want to get too political with this. Well, I don't want to get political at all. I mean, that's the nice thing about living off grid is you just don't have to be political anymore. You do your best to fight what you need to fight. Like when I was talking about the mail, that was a pretty big battle that I had to go through. But beyond that, I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I've served my time. I did what I could do to make this country better, and it's not working. So now I got to watch out for myself. You know, I was in the military. I love my country. But in the end, I think the country is falling apart. It's kind of scary. And so I think that's what the big appeal to my channel growth is right now. My channel is just exploding, and there's no explanation for it other than I think people they're trying to find a way to get away from what's going on in the world. And this is such a simplistic life. There's just not a lot to it. You know, my big challenges of the day is, you know, make sure I got electric, make sure I got water, make sure I got some heat for the winter. So I'm going to take the oil plug off here. Oh, dipstick. You know, the only thing I got now is YouTube, and you know, they're just not 24-hour news. I mean, there's a couple commentators that I listen to from my favorite news channels, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day of news commentary that I listen to, and then I shut it off. But I see some people, that's all they do. Now, one of the disadvantages to the suitcase generator is you got to get the oil out of it. You know, most generators got a drain plug underneath it. Nope, this one's right on the side. And really, there's only one way to do it. You get yourself a Gatorade bottle or some sort of bottle, you know, with a wide mouth. You stick it up there and you dump it over. But you want to make sure that you don't have any a lot of gas in there. It's going to spill gas if you got gas in it. So that's the disadvantage to these. So you just dump it over and the oil drains out. So being out here, I don't have to deal with all the news, and I can just get away from it And whatever is going to happen, I'm just going to have to be prepared for. I got to be prepared for any possible scenario. And I am. There is a mayor, I think, in California right now, who says that if you have too many people in your house, they're going to shut off your electric. Man, can you imagine that? To your house, they're going to shut off your electric to your house if you've got too many people because you're not social distancing. I mean, I understand that this pandemic's pretty serious, but I'm not saying that we shouldn't social distance when we go out in public. Absolutely. Put on your mask. That's fine. Do what you can to protect you and others. But when you're in your own home, that's your sanctuary. Do whatever you want to do. And so they're going to shut off electric. Well, out here, I dare them to shut off my electric. I dare them to come over and figure out how to disconnect my solar panels. They're not going to shut it off. I don't want to sound like I'm a violent person. I'm not. I will do what I can to be in compliance with whatever laws. But in order to be in compliance, you have to really do your research to find where you can do these kind of things. And Missouri was really free when it comes to living off grid. The top two states that I kept coming up to was Missouri and Tennessee. And Tennessee has really high land prices, but Missouri I was able to find actually 2 or 3 different pieces. Well, Carolyn found it, I should say. 2 or 3 different pieces of property. It was really cheap. She found 10 acres for $7,200. It didn't pan out, but then we found this acre and a half, which we liked a lot better. Believe it or not, the acre and a half is much better than the 10 acres was. And it was $4,200 and it had a well. Both of them actually had a well. And so, do your research. And when I say do your research, I mean you do constant research. We wanted to go to Mississippi first. And we looked at the counties. She'd find a piece of property and we look at the counties, see what kind of restrictions. And after a while we realized, well, Mississippi just isn't going to let you do it. But then you run into personal fears. They said, well, I want to do what you're doing, but I can't. I'm scared of something. And the one that always gets me is snakes. They say, I can't do what you're doing, I'm scared of snakes. Well, that's funny because I am terrified of snakes, and snakes are a real problem. Copperheads in the state of Missouri is just the worst thing in my mind. And they're everywhere. I've ran into copperhead snakes every year of my life that I've lived in the state of Missouri. And then you got water moccasins also if we're near water, but I'm not near water, so I don't think I got to worry about water moccasins. I haven't seen one. And copperheads are very aggressive. Water moccasins are actually fairly tame. Now, the reason I know this is because I researched, because I'm so scared of snakes. I research and research and research, trying to figure out what I need to do and how I can overcome my fears. And water moccasins are pretty tame. I actually ran into a water moccasin in Florida. I almost stepped on the thing, and it didn't strike at me. All my life I was told water moccasins are so dangerous, they'll strike at everything. And it didn't strike at me. It showed its mouth, which is cotton. It's, and so I came back and I researched water moccasins, and I found out that water moccasins don't want to bite you. And if they do bite you, 9 times out of 10, they'll do what's called a dry bite. They don't want to waste their venom because their venom is important to eating. I have a funnel. These things actually come with a funnel, but I never use the funnel because it just drips everywhere. I found that this little hand sanitizer bottle usually works pretty good. I just pour my oil into it, and then I dump the oil into the generator. Then I looked up copperheads. The copperheads are actually very aggressive, and a lot of people get bit by copperheads. But the thing about copperheads is their poison, their venom, isn't actually that deadly. The other day, Carolyn and I was moving solar panels, and there was, a couple dozen garter snakes. They're not poisonous. And so I took the shovel and I was lifting up the solar panels while Carolyn was scaring the garter snakes away. That way, you don't want to kill them because they are good for the environment. Black snakes, garter snakes eat bugs. Black snakes will actually eat copperheads. The thing that made my life so much easier was just researching and learning about my fear. And once I realized that my fear was kind of misplaced, like, the water moccasin, it's so much easier to deal with things. Now, the last thing I'll do here is I will take the air filter. Sorry about that. I had a little editing problem. I dropped my mic. So the last thing you're going to do, you take the air filter out of here and you just put it in soapy water. I like these kind of air filters. They're foam air filters. And you put it in soapy water and you can clean them. So don't let fear get in your way. If you know that you're afraid of something, immediately start doing research, figuring out how you can overcome your fear. Become smarter about it. You know, I like copperheads. I know that copperheads strike at the ankle. Most of the pictures that I've looked at are ankle bites or finger bites. That means somebody went down and picked something up and they got bit by on their fingers or hands. But they don't really strike higher than your ankle. So what I did was I temporarily cut out 2 coffee cans. So I put it around my foot and my ankle, so that would stop the copperhead from biting. Okay, and then finally, what you got to do is you got to put some oil on this air filter so it helps trap the particles. Don't do a lot. You just kind of do a little splash like that and then just kind of let it spread around. I hope I can inspire you. Reduce your amount of stress in this world. Overcome your fears and just live peacefully. Thanks for watching.